Welcome to the Cyber Resilience Brief, a SafeBreach podcast. I'm your host, Tova Dvorin, and with me today is my co host, Adrian Culley, a leading offensive cybersecurity engineer here at SafeBreach. Adrian, welcome back.
Great to be here, Tova, and hi to all our listeners and new listeners.
Yes, hi to our listeners. We love you. Thanks for sticking with us. Today, we're diving into a threat campaign that security researchers are calling a next level threat. It's codenamed BrickStorm, a highly sophisticated espionage operation attributed to a China-nexus group tracked as UNC 5221. What's truly staggering about this campaign is the patience of the adversary. The average time they remain inside a victim's network before being detected, what we call the dwell time, is 393 days. That's over a year.
And Tova, from an offensive perspective, that number is the headline. It's not just impressive, it's both a statement of intent and a development of tradecraft. The Chinese Ministry of State Security cyber operations teams have evolved from living off the land to living off the blind spot. This isn't a smash and grab ransomware attack. This is a deliberate, patient, and meticulously planned intelligence operation. An attacker who can stay hidden for over a year isn't just looking for a quick win. They are embedding themselves into the very fabric of the organization, learning its systems and exfiltrating data so slowly and carefully that they become part of the background noise.
So, to make the difference here between living off the land and living off the blind spot, it's not that they're loud and disruptive. They're quiet and invisible. It's that dwell time that makes the difference.
Yes.
Okay. The research shows that their targets are very specific: legal firms, SaaS providers, and technology companies in the US and Europe. They're going after intellectual property, sensitive data, national security and trade, and the email inboxes of senior leadership.
Exactly. And they achieve this incredible stealth by fundamentally understanding a blind spot in modern enterprise security. And this is the big issue for the world. They are deliberately targeting infrastructure that often can't run traditional security tools. Things like VPN appliances, VMware vCenter servers, and ESXi hosts. These are the keys to the kingdom, which is why they're being targeted. The management plane of the entire network. By compromising these devices, they can operate in the shadows, completely bypassing the EDRs and other endpoint controls that security teams rely on. They are literally living where defenders can't see. Again, this new evolution of tradecraft, living off the blind spot.
Let's break that down further, Adrian. How exactly are they getting in and staying hidden for so long? What does their attack's life cycle look like?
It's a masterclass in evasion, Tova. The initial access point is often a zero-day vulnerability on an internet-facing edge appliance, like an Ivanti VPN gateway. And we were aware there's the CISA Ivanti Endpoint Mobile Alert AR25261A recently. These things are connected. They get their first foothold on a device that, as I mentioned, likely has no EDR agent on it. From there, it's all about stealth and persistence.
And this is where the BrickStorm malware itself comes into play.
Right, BrickStorm is their custom Go coding language based backdoor. Being written in Go makes it easy to compile for various Linux and BSD based operating systems these appliances run. They take extreme care to make it blend in. They'll name the malware file to mimic a legitimate system process, like VAMI HTTPD on a vCenter server. They also use obfuscation tools like Garble to make each sample unique, which renders signature based detection useless.
Yeah, research also mentioned a particularly insidious tactic: delayed activation.
And that's what makes this adversary so formidable. In one case, after an organisation had already started a full incident response, UNC 5221 deployed a new BrickStorm implant that was programmed to lie dormant and only start communicating back to them months in the future. They are literally waiting out in the defenders, planning to regain access long after the security team thinks the network is clean.
Once they have that persistent foothold, how do they move around the network and get the data that they need?
Their lateral movement is credential driven, meaning they use legitimate accounts to avoid suspicion. And how they get those credentials is one of the most innovative parts of this campaign. It really is cutting edge genius. Use a technique where, from a compromised vCenter, they clone a critical virtual machine like a domain controller. Then, while the clone is offline, They mount its virtual disk and extract the entire Active Directory credential database, the ntds.dit file. This offline method is brilliant because it completely bypasses any and all security tools on the live domain controller that would normally scream if somebody was trying to access that file or touch it in any way. After they copy the database, they just delete the clone, leaving almost no trace.
So, to pick up what you might be putting down here, we have an incredibly patient and sophisticated adversary that knows how to exploit the blind spots in our defenses. What are the strategic implications here? Why are they doing this and what's the end game?
I think this is the eye of the storm, Tova, as to what really elevates BrickStorm from a simple espionage campaign to a systemic threat. Their objective is twofold. First, yes, they're stealing intelligence for immediate geopolitical and economic advantage, things like illegal strategies and trade secrets. But their second, more long term goal is far more dangerous.
And that is,
They're actively stealing proprietary source code and internal vulnerability information from compromised technology and SaaS vendors. Think about that for a moment. They steal the blueprints to widely used software, take it back to their labs, and reverse engineer it to find new, undiscovered zero-day vulnerabilities. It's a steal today, weaponize tomorrow model. Each successful intrusion directly fuels the development of tools for the next one, making them progressively more powerful over time and progressively more powerful very quickly.
and that's a terrifying feedback loop, not just in general, but considering the nation state involvement here. It's more than a classic supply chain attack, it's a massive scale of a classic supply chain attack with national implications.
It's the evolution of the supply chain attack, which we've been talking about during our October series and the forthcoming November security series. Instead of a single massive compromise like SolarWinds, UNC 5221 is running a repeatable playbook to compromise multiple upstream providers all at once. By hitting a SaaS vendor, they don't just get the company's data, they get a potential pivot point into the networks of every single one of the provider's downstream customers. It weaponizes the trust inherent in the digital ecosystem. The security of thousands of organizations is suddenly dependent on the security of their single most vulnerable vendor. You are the weakest link.
And all of this is happening against a backdrop of rising geopolitical tensions in the US, in the EU, and worldwide, where where cyber operations are a key instrument of state power. This just isn't hacking, it's a strategic campaign to undermine economic and national security.
Precisely, it's a long term play to gain persistent strategic advantage.
Adrian, this all sounds incredibly difficult to defend against. If an adversary is using 0 days, living in your blind spots, moving with stolen credentials, and then reverse engineering what they find, what can security teams realistically do to stay one step ahead of attackers? How do you find an enemy you can't see that's working around the clock?
You've hit on a critical point, Tova. You can't. The old model of waiting for a security alert to fire is fundamentally broken against an adversary like this. The alert may never come. The only way to defend against a silent patient attacker is to shift from a reactive to a proactive security posture. You have to assume you're already compromised and continuously hunt for these behaviors before they achieve their goals.
And this is where we talk about breach and attack simulation, BAS, and continuous automated red teaming CART, and how it comes in to mitigate every threat actor that might come along. Adrian, could you explain how that helps?
A BAS platform allows you to answer the question, could this happen to us, before it actually does. Instead of just hoping that your defences work, you prove it. As we've often discussed, hope is not a strategy. Prove that your cybersecurity tools work. We can take the exact tactics, techniques, and procedures, the TTPs, used by UNC 5221 and safely simulate them in your production environment.
So you're running a fire drill for a BrickStorm attack on your existing infrastructure.
And we're able to do that on critical production assets, including IT/OT. Our platform can run an attack simulation that asks, can we detect that clever offline VM cloning technique by correlating the right logs in vCenter? Can our network security tools spot anomalous outbound traffic like DNS over HTTPS coming from a VPN appliance that should never be doing that? Can we spot the in-memory credential theft from a vCenter server?
So, in other words, Bass and Card uncover the blind spots and make them part of your regular range of vision.
It shines a light on them, which is now fundamentally essential. A BAS platform gives you empirical data on where security controls are effective and, most importantly, where they fail against this specific threat. You don't have to wait 393 days to find out you have a gap. You find it today with a detailed report on exactly how to fix it. It allows security teams to prioritize remediation based on real world risk, not just theoretical vulnerabilities. It's about validating your security posture against the threats that matter now. It's also why vulnerability management does not cut it anymore. You need to be managing the actual risk that's in front of you, not theoretical vulnerabilities.
And prioritizing it, like we discussed before.
100% Tova.
Yeah. So, the key takeaway is that against a next level threat like BrickStorm, you need to move to a next level proactive defense.
You have to. You can't defend against what you don't test. You can't defend against what you don't see in your blind spots. In today's landscape, hoping your defences will work is not a strategy. Proving they work is. Baz and Car to the tools that let you do that.
Great. Adrian, thank you so much for breaking this down to us. It's a sobering look at the current threat landscape and the geopolitical landscape, but it's crucial to understand what we're up against.
My pleasure, Tova. And again, thanks to all our listeners for staying with us.
Yes, thank you, listeners. That's all the time we have for today on the Cyber Resilience Brief. Join us next time as we explore the evolving role of AI in both offensive and defensive cyber operations. In the meantime, stay safe with SafeBreach. The Cyber Resilience Brief is a SafeBreach podcast, executive produced by Tova Dvorin and Adrian Culley. Sound provided by Adobe Music. Editing done with Adobe Podcasts. Distribution and tracking provided by Podbean. If you enjoy the podcast and would like to learn more, please check us out at www.safebreach.com. SafeBreach.com. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.